All right. So the power today is called Goop. The power is it's very similar to the Ben 10 alien if you've seen that show. It's I mean, the dude turns into goop. It's just a malleable substance that allows him to make sure that he can take a hit, makes him all liquidy, puts it back together, right? Um, and so what I was thinking of, like, what would a person that's like this, what would they be do, like, how are they fighting, right? And I think of it as somebody like, because imagine if you're in the scenario, imagine you're having to like consistently be killed over and over again, like, your body's getting splattered across buildings, right, time and time and time and time and time and time and time again, right? And you're just and you're having to deal with that. And it made me think that, like, if somebody had this kind of a power, I think it would cause like a hint and a bit of like insanity that would go into a lot of this, right? Because I think that because the person can never die, they would spend the entirety of a fight kind of taunting and jeering somebody, right? Because you know how frustrating it would be. Like, you're hitting him with every single attack you got, and it's beating him, but it just keeps like just up, no, and he's back up, and he's back up, and he's back. Like, I would assume that would be incredibly infuriating, right? And so I think almost having like this Spider-Man school of thought where you want to like continue to put on like the mental anguish by by continuing to bully them. I would assume I like that's how I imagine, right? Like a goop villain, right? And so I that's why I didn't think I had a lot of trouble like drawing it, right? Because fun fact, I'm actually not insane. So trying to how would you pose that? Like, how do you um how do you how do you show that to an audience, right? And so I think this pose that I landed on, which is him kind of hunched over, like regenerating, like pulling himself back together, right? Like his body part, like all of his body parts very off model, very like some parts are bigger and some parts are smaller, right? And him still like laughing in your face while he's doing it, right? Well, like his body is just kind of just barely coming back together. I think that's generally I think it gets the right feeling across, right? Um, in in terms of what what else I was kind of thinking, um, I I think that uh, it would be I think it would be very much like a battle of attrition kind of thing where if you're this intangible being, right? Um, I feel like you're obviously whittling people down, so I wanted to try to kind of convey like that feeling, I guess, um, of coming back together, right? Like after getting blasted away again, coming back together, coming like from this pool of whatever. Another design that I thought of doing a little later was like having the more like connected parts of his body, right? Like, the parts for his chest and his spine, right? Like all like the basically like the when you like draw a person, right? And you're just doing the outline, right? Like those big sections that you just kind of draw as vague shapes and lines. I thought of like coloring those in because I think it, for whenever he goes back to being just like a normal dude, I think like having those be kind of the things that are keeping his shape intact, right? Like almost like his body's like regenerating, and it starts with this very basic design of what he wants, and so he's almost moving through that artistic process as he's regenerating. But yeah, so I think that was the main ideas that I had. In terms of like the idea of this, obviously, so like to get these powers, I've made a list of 50. I was gonna do 100, but now it's 50 of like you know what I wanted to like of what I knew I could draw, right? And like abilities that I could think of in my head, just making sure there's not like any repeat offenders, right? And so I've elected to just kind of roll at random, seeing which one of the 50 I get, and Goop, I think when I was making the list, it was more from like I was thinking of like the Ben 10, like where it has like the little hovering part and like that kind of aesthetic. And even though I think that it is, I would say that this is more different than the way that Ben 10 portrays that kind of a power. I think Ben 10 portrays it in this way of kind of being more of a, I don't know, I guess I would say more of just like a neutral ability, like that there isn't so much a downside into using it. I think I definitely want to emphasize much more character because like also again in Ben 10 he has like these little itty bitty eyes and so it's like meh, right? I want to kind of have a little more oomph. So yeah, I think that's for the most part that's about all that was going through my head at least while drawing this one. I think I like how this turned out a lot. Like I think the actual art that was drawn. I think it's if I put this if like there was a scene like this inside of a comic book, obviously with like a background and all that stuff, I think I would be fairly proud of it. I don't think I would be mad or angry that I made this, and like put this into a more finished product. Obviously, I would clean it up a lot more, but again, I think it was. I think it was fun to draw. I think it was interesting. I don't know. It's just very interesting to think of like the liquids looping down. Obviously, this is more now just critique of the actual of the art. But I mean, again, this series is about me learning how to draw and learning how to redesign and all this stuff for a comic book that I'm writing. And so again, just trying to get through all 50 of these and to have like a reference as to what I was thinking when I first made them. Again, and if any of you want to know what like the full list looks like and like what other powers to expect and those kind of things, some of them are gonna be pretty basic. Some of them are gonna be much more interesting. A lot of them are gonna be, I guess, borrowed from other forms of media. Though some of them are a lot more, I guess, original. Just because again, I'm not gonna say that I made 50 superpowers that you've never seen before because I haven't, right? But again, I think within the context of the story that I'm writing, it makes. I think it'll make a lot more sense once you read it as to the reason why I have to draw all of these. So yeah, again, that kind of context hasn't necessarily been given to you, which again sucks. But I don't have enough like parts of it developed yet for me to show, right? So the closer we get to that, the more of this series and other videos that I'll make will be more focused on developing that and figuring that kind of stuff out. So, but yeah, no. Again, I would just like to say thank y'all for watching. These videos obviously they're much more ranty, and so they're a lot less structured than a lot of other YouTube videos, and that sucks. But again, I hope you can at least relate to my ideas in these kind of things. And if you can't, well, you still watched 9 minutes of me talking about things. So thank you for that. Again, I have a lot more free time, so a lot of these drawings should get to be a much better quality in the next coming videos. So again, you can look forward to that. And I hope that I hope that you can stick around, subscribe, comment. If you got any questions or queries about anything I've done in this video. And I hope that you have a great day. So again, thank you for watching. See ya.